Good morning, guys, and welcome back to the channel. Cam here with Just Tooling Around. Today we're going to be back on our 78 C10 project. We got our replacement Amazon Rochester carb in. We're going to throw it on the truck and see if that helps some of our runnability issues. And then also want to start tearing into the interior of the truck. I'd like to pull the seats, the rubber floors, and the seal plates and all out. Make sure we don't have any floor pan rust. We know we got a little bit down in the cab corners that we got to figure out if we're going to address or not. But I like to make sure that the floor pans are in good shape, and if not, start putting together a plan of how we're going to repair that. So let's go ahead and jump into it. All right, so as you can see, I've already pulled out the driver's side seal plates. I pulled those out the other day. The screws that they're held in with, basically like a self-tapping screw. As you can see on this side, they're gummed up, and they look like somebody's already rounded a bit off in them, so I'll probably have to take it easy out to get those out. This is what I had to do on the driver's side. Driver's side, I did vacuum a little bit over there before I turned the camera on, and I didn't see. I started peeling the rubber floor back. It started breaking up in pieces, so I figure I need to take the seat out first. I didn't see any floor pan rust, but I will say over here, there is some stuff that's looking like metal and rust over here. So we may have a problem when we get down below this, but that's why we're doing it today. Try to put together a game plan of what we got to do to make the truck right. All right, I don't know how well y'all can see. I'll take you and try to move you in a little bit closer. It hasn't rusted through. There's a pretty decent amount of pitting in there, and you can definitely tell where water and crud's been sitting in there over the years. It's not nowhere near as bad as I thought it would be, or was worried about it being. Probably what I'll do, we get the rest of this pulled out, we'll pull that padding and all out of there, and I'll take a wire wheel on the grinder. We'll clean it up. I got some POR 15 I'll probably take and come back in here, and we'll clean it up, put some of that POR 15 on it, try to protect it as best we can. And then I plan on ordering a carpet kit for the truck and putting carpet back down in here to put down on the floor rather than the rubber mat. So we'll just continue on with removing the rest of the interior now. Grab your trash bag so we can start pulling these pieces out of here. This stuff's in fairly rough shape, I guess, to be the original rubber floors that it lasted. Well, this one, what, 45 years? Almost 50 years? Lasted quite a while. But, a little bit of rust down there. Looks like something may have been leaking and running down the firewall right there, down in the floor pan. Yeah, we got some rust under here. Cool. I should have grabbed a mask. Oh. Sorry about that. Alright. Alright, I think you got the camera on a little bit more stable footing now. Hopefully I don't tip it back over again. Yeah, I probably should have grabbed a decent knife to do this with. This stuff's so dry rotted you can pretty much just crack it into pieces with your hands. All right. Yeah, there's a little bit of rust in these floor pans. Definitely have some work to do here. Vacuum that off, and look, it doesn't look like anything's rusted through. Just looks like some really bad pitting and surface rust. Alright. Nothing too bad. Definitely nothing that a little grinder and some POR 15 won't fix. So everything looks decent on this side. What I'll do is I'll finish up over here. I'll get the rest of this jute padding or whatever out, and then I'll flip it around and turn you around and look at the driver's side. I'm thinking that the passenger side, from looking at it, looks to be the worst, but I haven't pulled off over there up under the pedals and everything like that. So we'll get the driver's side peeled back and see what we got over there. Alright, get our seal plates over here. Hoping that door would stay open a little better than that. Guess not. I'll take a piece of house carpet out for now. Hold on to that. That way, while we're waiting on our carpet kit, at least have something to cover the floors with. This side's in a little bit better shape, rubber-wise, but not much. Actually had a pretty decent sized hole in it, I guess, up under the brake pedal. I got some old dirt dauber nests here around the dimmer switch. There we go. Gracious. Looks like a whole sandcastle over here under the pedals. I'm gonna run around and grab the tank and try to get some of that out of here. But look at all that dirt right there. Well, I think I plugged the vacuum up. Gracious. Try that again. take and empty out the vacuum cleaner. Thing's pretty well filled up, and there's still a pretty decent amount of dirt over here. I know you can't tell through the camera, but this thing smells awful. Once you get that carpet up, or the rubber up, and get down to this pad, good gracious, it stinks. I'll finish that up, and I'll bring y'all guys back once I get everything off the floorboard and show you what it looks like. Okay, so after about 30-45 minutes worth of cleaning and scraping and using a little wire brush, this is what we got. Was able to get a majority of the jute pad, and I still got a little bit of work to do over there on the driver's side where some of it was glued down. The worst area over here was in the lower kick panel area where the two panels come together. Some of the seam sealer was chipped out. I finished up pulling it all the way, and it was fairly pitted below it, but it's not rusted through, so we'll hit that with a wire brush and POR 15. That wet spot right there is coming from the heater core, which I figured something like that was probably the cause of all of this rust over here. It looks like it's leaking, so I'll just bypass it for now. Really don't need the heat with currently. I do want to get it fixed long term, but for now I'll just bypass it. That way we can continue on with cleaning up the floor and getting it painted. All right, so we've flipped the seat up, getting ready to take the bolts out. As I started digging around in here, I found some stuff I thought this was pretty cool. It's from one of the local, well, it's just not local, it's probably up around Middle Georgia, one of the stockyards. It's a card, I guess, from one of the cattle sales that they had sometime in the 1990s, maybe 1980s, not really sure. Found some old bags. I know that the guy who owned this truck before was a farmer. It was my wife's great uncle. Soil sample bags and things like that. A little Dow chemical soil sampling kit and stuff all up in here. I see some more stuff, so as we start pulling the seat out, I'm sure there'll be more stuff to find, but I'm holding on to every bit of this. I'm putting it all in a Ziploc bag, and I'm going to give it to my wife's aunt to kind of hold on to. All right, we got the seat out and sitting on the tailgate of the truck, and I think that's where some of our smell was coming from. I'm definitely gonna put on my mask, gonna grab a trash bag, put that in it, start vacuuming all of this out of here. As I mentioned before, the driver's side seat belt was pretty well trashed, so I'd already taken it out and had to toss it. It had been tore apart at some point and put back together with fishing line and twine, so definitely safe. I got rid of it. I'll hold on to the passenger side from now. I'll definitely buy a new driver's side one, but gonna get the rest of this cleaned out of here, and I'll come back at you when I got the whole floor cleaned up, and we'll see what we've got to work with. I want to show y'all progress on the back of the seat. I started taking some of the spray away glass cleaner. I really like this stuff. Hadn't really found a whole lot that this stuff can't clean. Spraying it down on the back of this, and all this mold and dirt and grime and everything like that, pretty much just wiping away off of it. Actually, seat back of it is not in terrible shape once you get all this cleared off of it. Actually looks fairly decent. Not too bad. I'm gonna finish doing the rest of it. Clean the seat bottom and everything on it as well. I've already cleaned this side and it doesn't look terrible. Actually cleaned up fairly well. Clean that up. I hit the floor pretty much everywhere with the little cup wheel on the end of the drill. Started wiping the floor down over here. Some of it's drying right now. There's a decent amount of dirt and stuff and just mud kind of caked everywhere. I may end up actually just hosing the thing out. I'll see how trying to wipe it out with rags and everything does. And then we'll jump on painting it. All right, guys. So I've been doing a little bit more cleaning at it, and I started painting with POR 15 in the worst areas, and then I ran out. So what I switched to is some of the Ace hardware, just some of their like store brand rust stop paint over rust black enamel. I'm going to use that. I've used it in the past on some stuff, and it seemed to hold up pretty well. So I hit the areas that weren't as bad, like under the seat where that mouse nest was. I'm going to use them over here in the floorboards. For right now, I've got a styrofoam cup cut in half, kind of holding back all the water that's still wanting to drip down from that heater core. I'm gonna have to do something about that, but if I can at least get all this painted for right now and keep it dry while I'm doing that, then I'll address that once everything's dry and I get the seat back in. We got rain coming later in the week, so I really need to get this finished up so I can get the seat set back in the cab. I really don't have too much space in the garage to put it right now, so I don't want to leave it out sitting on the tailgate, which is where it is right now. If you look at the back of it, you can see I took some of the spray away cleaner and it cleaned up actually really well. Overall, the seat looks pretty good, so I think I'm going to leave it as it is. Gonna let this dry. Fixing to go grab another can of the rust stop paint and finish up, and I'll show you what we got when we're done. Okay, so I've been letting the floor dry for a few days, and I came back out here today and opened the door up and looked, and apparently the heater core continued to drip. I thought it had stopped the other day. I didn't see any more coming out of it, but apparently it continued dripping while the truck sat here, and it's eat the paint up where it dripped down through there, down the little channel right there, and then down in the little seal area here. There's antifreeze standing, and the paint's been eat up. So we've got a few minutes this evening before it gets too dark, so we're going to go ahead and bypass this heater core and try to get as much drained out of it as we can. Go ahead and reroute that plumbing on it so that we don't have to worry about this anymore. Then I'll have to get back in here and take either the grinder with a little flat disc on it or the sander and clean that up and repaint it again and fix the paint on that. But let's go ahead and get this heater core bypassed. All right, so I got me a jug, and what I think I'm going to do, I went ahead and grabbed a couple of squeeze clamps as well as my vice grips. I don't really have a decent sized pan to catch this in. All I've got is a little 1 gallon water jug that still had water in it, so let me dump that out. I think I'm going to do the one coming off the head first. Maybe. Ooh, these things are pretty stiff. I don't know if my squeeze clamps are going to flatten them out, but I guess it'll work till it doesn't. All right. Actually, you know what? Let's go ahead. Let's go big. We'll do the main line first. Tighten that vice grip up. I'm gonna basically try to drain the side from the heater core first into that jug, and then I'll cut the side loose at the radiator and drain that down in there. I figure that's where a majority of it's going to come from anyway. So we'll test our theory out on the side that should have the least antifreeze in it. That feels like it squeezed off pretty well right there. Jug over here, ready to catch. All right, and we're already making a mess. Second clamp on this and it's up. Seems to have a pretty decent amount of flow coming out of it. There we go. And I'll stop it off right there. Alright. That side seems to have stopped. Fairly rough looking stuff. Oh, nope, never mind. No, it ain't. Sit that there and let that drain for a few minutes. All right, pour that into my bigger jug right here so I can dispose of it. All right, now comes the fun part. Get to do the radiator side of that hose. Push that hose down in the jug. Well, I guess that was it. Huh. Thought there would have been a... Oh, no, never mind. Radiator's already drained past the point where that hose comes out, so we should be good there. All right. What I'll do now, then, I'll go ahead and go grab a screwdriver and take this one off, and all I'm going to do is I'm just going to take and cut the other side coming from the heater core out. It goes to the top of the head, and then just try to plug it in here. I know that's one's a 5/8 hose, one's a 3/4 inch hose, but I'm hoping I can get it up on here without too much trouble. If not, I'll figure something else out. But I think that we should be able to do that. So I'll go run grab a screwdriver and catch you back in a minute. All right, I ran out of light the other night and had to stop. One thing I did run into. I was gonna go ahead and try to pop that hose off, but the old style radiator clamps that were on it, the head of the bolt rung off as soon as I grabbed a hold to it, so I ended up just having to cut it apart with a set of dikes. So should be able to get that hose off. But what I'm going to go ahead and do, I'm going to go ahead and clamp off the other hose. Let's see. Okay. There. We'll go back a little further than that just to give us plenty of room to get up to the radiator. That ought to be enough to make it over there. Clamp off on both sides of it. All right. Get ready and cut that one off. Go ahead and get the jug ready. Alright. I'll hold that one upright for now. Sit and drain for a second. I don't know that a whole lot's going to actually come out of that end right there, coming from the heater core itself. It's already pretty empty. Get this hose around. Give me the jug. All right, and that one we're pretty good on too. All right. So now, that one off there, and then plenty of hose to get us where we need to there. And what I'll do, I don't have one on hand right this second. I'll grab a radiator clamp. Perfect. That'll hold for now. All right, we got that hose on, we got it bypassed, and I was able to get one of the hoses off here. I'm probably gonna have to cut the other clamp off. It's in a similar shape to the one that was on the radiator, so the head's started to strip already. So I'll try to grab it with a pair of vice grips. If it doesn't come off like that, I'll just take it and cut it off and rip the hose off. I do plan on putting a new heater core in it, but I'd like to get the flooring finished up and all that today. I don't have a heater core. I need to get one on order. But what we'll do now is I'll grab the grinder and the flat disc, and we'll jump in here and clean up some of that paint where it was messed up by all the antifreeze draining down on it. And then we'll get it resprayed again and see what we look like. All right, but the hose is disconnected. It's still draining a little bit on the inside. So I think what I'm gonna do, I got that hose hooked up to the jug. I'm gonna take and try to blow a little bit of compressed air in there and see if I can blow a little bit of that liquid out, antifreeze out the, I don't know that it'll do this, we'll see. Oh yeah, got a decent amount out of it. Hopefully it'll quit draining in there now. I'll give it a few more minutes, and then I'll cut the rest of that hose off and try to dry the floor up. And there's a pretty good bit of antifreeze standing in the floorboard in there. All right, so as you can see, the floor looks nowhere near as good as it did the other day when we had it cleaned up and painted. Everywhere that antifreeze ran down, it pretty well ate the paint right off of the floor. I can take that rag right there I was trying to dry it off with, and as I wipe across it, the paint just rolls up. There's still a slight bit of antifreeze kind of dripping out of the little floor vent or the foot vent right there. I'm gonna grab a 5/16 wrench and pop that off, dry it out, and then pack some towels up in it just so no more antifreeze drains out, and then we'll grind away at the floor and start painting. The other side wasn't held on. Oh yeah, it's a good bit of antifreeze in that. Take that and go clean it up. Let's see. Oh, yeah, still a good bit of liquid up in there, so we'll dry that out. Try to pack some rags up in there to keep it clean. And keep all of that off of our floor and off of our fresh paint. So. All right, so I've been cleaning away at it for a couple hours. I went ahead and packed some rags up in the 4-vent hole to try to keep any more antifreeze from spilling out of there. Instead of putting a lot of heat in the floor using the grinder, I went ahead and just grabbed the random orbital sander and some 180 grit. Been cleaning it up with that. It looks pretty decent. Hit it with some spray away glass cleaner and a rag, and it seems to have cleaned it up pretty well. So I'm going to let this dry overnight. There's still a little bit of standing water like down here in the seals. I went ahead and washed it off to try to flush any of that antifreeze out. So gonna let it dry overnight, come back tomorrow and hit it with some paint, and then we'll throw the seat back in it, and I want to put that carb on it and see how it runs once we got that in there. So I'll come back and hit you tomorrow. Well guys, you ever worked on a project that's almost like Groundhog Day? Come out here just a minute ago, was all ready to go ahead and paint the floorboards, and there's antifreeze. Just wiped a good bit of it up with those shop rags right there, but even with the rags stuffed up in there, it's still leaking out from multiple different areas up under there. So I don't think I'm going to be able to do anything with the floor until I remove that heater core and go ahead and swap it out. I don't have the stuff, and I'm not prepared to do that today. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and throw that carburetor on there, and let's see how it runs with that. All right, I'm going to pop this old carb off. New Amazon special. That one, let's see. There's our new car. Go ahead and set that box over here, give me some room to work. Get those carb springs off there. we go. All right, set this on the tailgate of the truck for now. All right, go ahead and unbox this thing and see what we got. And throw everything in the floor while we're at it. So here's what it looks like. Overall, it looks pretty much identical to the one that came off of it. One thing I will say, this base that's on it almost feels like plastic or some kind of hard resin or something like that. And then the gasket that they supplied with it literally looks like a piece of styrofoam. Kind of brittle. Not really sure what that's made out of. It doesn't match up the greatest. The holes are close, but it's not great. I'm probably going to go grab the old gasket and just reuse it because it was in pretty good shape. But I'll grab that and we'll go ahead and throw it on. As you can see, the old gasket, a little bit more defined shape, and actually holes were grommeted on it rather than just being rough punched out in a piece of styrofoam. So I kind of like sticking with the old one. Let's see here. Set this up in here. Okay, a kick down cable. Gasket lined up and everything lines up with the holes. So far so good. And what I'll do before we go too much further, looks like both of the idle air adjustment screws at the bottom of the carb are kind of all over the place. So I'll do similar to the way they recommend doing with one of the stock ones, and bottom them out and then back them off like 2.5, 3 turns from bottom is kind of a good starting point to go with. So I'll do that before we go too much further. Got those tight. One, and grab my needle nose so we can hook up our return springs. Just want to make sure that was tight. Now we get to hook up the line at the back. Let's see. Now, this is going to be interesting. That feels a little shorter than the old one. Pop up in here and throw my keys down. Yeah. That's interesting. It does not look like that line's gonna match up and connect back there. So I'll have to come up with something else for that. See, I may have to end up removing it from that and try to mount it some other way. All right, false alarm. I just took a look at the old carb that came off of it. There's actually a fitting that goes from looks like MPT to the little flared fitting for the brake booster, or the vacuum line going to the brake booster on the back. So all I gotta do is screw that fitting in the back, and we should be able to connect that line directly to it. If I can get over here. It would have been so much easier to have done this before I put it in here. But, oh well. It is what it is. All right, and now, oh yeah, it connects beautifully. Perfect. And I must have left the wrench on the workbench when I walked back in there. Great. I'll grab that, tighten that up, and pretty much everything's hooked up. I got one little vacuum plug to put on the back of the carb, one at the front. Then we should be able to put some gas in it. Throw a little carb cleaner in there. See if we can get gas up to the carb and see if she'll run. Almost forgot. And y'all were supposed to remind me. You need to set those idle air adjustment screws at the bottom of the carb. So we're going all the way in. Ooh, man. These were way out. All right. 1, 2, 1.5. One, 2, 1.5. All right, that'll at least be a good starting point for us. Let's get a little carb cleaner and fire it up. We're running out of carb cleaner. All right, maybe that's enough. I don't know. We'll see. Almost. Double check real quick, make sure we don't have any leaks or anything like that going on up here. No big vacuum leaks, make sure I got everything plugged up and hooked up like it's supposed to be. It all looks fairly right. Alright, so as you can hear, we got it running. Came out here this afternoon and I realized that last night when I put the carb on, I had the gasket on upside down. So it had a heck of a vacuum leak up here at the front. Once I got that fixed, really haven't done a whole lot to it. The only thing I did do is I did adjust the idle stop or the throttle stop on it. It was idling really low straight out of the box. So I tweaked on that a little bit. And now, get the hood closed down. Go ahead and hop in here and see if we can take her for a spin around the yard. I'm gonna be sitting right on the floorboards, but all right. Had to move some stuff out of the way. Now, let's see if we can take her for a ride. Well, now she not want to go in gear. Oh, it's a little bumpy sitting right on this floor. And it's, oh goodness. Alright. So far so good. It's not like with the old carburetor where I kind of have to roll into the gas or lean into it. I can just hit the gas pedal without worrying about it dying. So maybe a step in the right direction. Let's get down here and let's get her turned around. I can definitely tell I need some more fluid. Oh, and everything I had in the cab's falling on the floor. Right my eyes. Guess he wanted to ride his bicycle today. I apologize for the bright sun and the horrible filming. Holding this camera up above my head because I really can't see too much sitting right down on the floorboard. Well guys, I'm gonna close this video out sitting here in the garage tonight. It's down in the 30s outside, so got the garage closed up. I'm sitting on the 78 C10's bench seat, and I've got my little buddy heater going in here, just trying to keep warm. The Amazon knockoff carb works well. I'm really pleased with it. It idles well, it drives well, and I can pretty much drive it how I want to. I don't have to toe into the throttle. I can pretty much romp down on it if I want to, and it doesn't seem to die or bog or anything like that, like the old carb was. So with all that done, I will go ahead and get it tagged and insured and throw a new set of tires on the front and put it back on the road for the first time in 10, 15 years or so. That'll be one of the things coming up next year. In addition to that, I do want to apologize for how chopped up and mixed up the video is. I really did not expect or foresee that leaking heater core to cause as many issues as it did with trying to tear the interior out and get the floor painted and everything put back in there. But just seeing how bad that thing was leaking once we got the rubber flooring out, it really shows why that floorboard is in as bad a shape and as rusty as it was. So what I do plan on doing is here in the next couple weeks, I'll have some time off for Christmas and New Year's coming up. Go ahead and buy a heater core and throw it in the truck. Finish painting the floors, throw a carpet kit in it, something that'll match the seat and the color of the truck, and get the interior buttoned up. And then we'll take it out and drive it. Put it on the road and put some miles on it. I do want to say, guys, I've been doing this YouTube thing for a little over a year now, and I'm really thankful for all you guys that have watched, liked, subscribed, and everything like that. Hoping in 2025 we can finish up some projects, get the 78 C10 on the road, do some more stuff to it. I'd really like to lower it and a couple other things like that, and then jump back on my 88 OBS and finish up some loose ends on it, get a new transmission and get it running and driving a little bit better than she does. But With all that said, guys, I just want to tell you, hope everybody has a Merry Christmas, a Happy New Year, and we'll catch you in 2025 on Just Tooling Around. Thanks, guys.